Welcome to SA Rugby magazine. I've got Mark Johan. We're just going to talk about the weekend that was in rugby. Great, for those starved of a bit of rugby, what a feast. Six Nations and Super Rugby, and sure glad I didn't bet my house on the Sunwolves not winning a game, because they beat the Rebels straight out of the block.
Well, they got the one out the way, but they'll still end last in the tournament. So let's keep perspective there. I think you said it's the worst of two evils. Which side is poorer? But kudos to Garth April and Rudy Page, two South African rejects who went there and they did the business. It really, it's us, JJ Engelbrecht on the field, a few other South Africans. It's like we got another franchise playing in the
Well, maybe Henrik Meyer was right when he said that he had a secret weapon at the World Cup with Rudy Page.
Yeah, but I'm glad he's getting some game time as well. I really enjoy him as a player. He kind of fell out of favour. But a wonderful win for them. For me, though, the big thing, Allez le Bleu was the weekend. Blue in Cape Town, the Stormers. Blue in Paris, the French. Yeah. Two great matches. And well done, Dobbo. First game in charge to shut out the Hurricanes, 27-0. First time since 99 that the Hurricanes have been left scoreless in a game. They lost 11-0 to the Reds, and that was a turgid game. Stormers played well, but it's the worst performance I've seen from a Hurricanes team in, well, probably ever.
Maybe the Russian ballet had its part to play?
Yeah, I'm sure most of them were at Mavericks all week.
We don't know that for sure, but
they
sure played like it.
Yeah, I'd like to hope they were there, because then they've got some excuse for having no energy on that field. But off to Buenos Aires to play the Jaguars, it's not going to get any easier. Again, we spoke about it in the build-up. They just don't have a pack, and they've lost John Plumtree. And one of the things synonymous with the Hurricanes going back many years, they always had these wonderful backs, the Cullens, the Umagas, the Lomus, but they never had a pack. And Plumtree changed that. And they just looked absolutely devoid of ideas. Also playing up against, I think, the best pack in the competition. And when you see the Peter Steffs, the Bongies, the Kitshoffs, the Malhabers, when you see them playing the way they did, and this Jan Jaco Coetzee, he is something special. Eh?
Yeah.
And
how long's he out for?
Jaco Coetzee.
Oh.
No, he's not out. Eh?
Isn't he? No,
he's not out. Khaleesi's out for 6 weeks with a knee injury. But Jaco Coetzee, as far as I know, is kind of ready and rampant to go.
Didn't he go off injured?
I can't recall, did he? But I think he will be available though.
I hope so, because he was immense.
Yeah, no, he's a great young talent. When I did the Bocktowns last year during the World Cup, he was one of the guests one of the days. And such a humble guy as well, and softly spoken. But wow, don't we produce loose forward talent in this country?
Do we ever?
I think you could pick loose forwards from the Varsity Cup and they'll make most international teams. So fantastic result. First up, 18,000 people at Newlands.
Yeah.
Which is so far down from the traditional 31,000 average in the history of the tournament, but it was the biggest crowd in Super Rugby this last weekend.
Yeah, and also in Cape Town, there was the tens going on, and I know several thousand people attend that, and they would have been the right target market to go to Newlands. So not ideal, but I think you'd be sitting closer to 30,000 with the Bulls come into town this weekend.
Definitely, and they get on a bit of a roll. They get the third win, they get the fourth win. You'll start seeing that 40,000 back in Newlands. And when we spoke to Dobbo about it, he said the key was to play a kind of game that was a winning game first and foremost.
Yeah.
And the more they were winning, the more people would come back and watch them. But I thought they just played such intelligent and good rugby.
Yeah.
It's a bit like the Springboks at the World Cup. They've gone back to the primary basics. You have a good pack that is multi-skilled. When you look at the likes of Kitshoff and Detoy, who can play with the ball, and they're just athletically very good, but they're powerful and they're strong. And just Peter Steph Detoy, it looked like he had never left Japan.
Yeah. To
start the season the way he did, I mean, at the moment, the best player in world rugby, without a doubt. He officially has that tag. But, you know, our biggest concern was how would these guys integrate back into the thing? And they really did themselves justice.
They did, eh?
They did Dobbo justice, and a fantastic win at Newlands.
Yeah, look, it was unfortunate to see Sia get injured. And I wonder how much that down was to lack of conditioning after the World Cup.
Yeah, I think he was struggling with his condition. Freak accident as well, off the ball, the knee goes. But we do know that he wasn't quite where he should have been fitness-wise. But he's also got 6 weeks now to kind of build up other aspects of his game in terms of upper body strength while the knee rests. And potentially the best thing that could have happened to him, you know, post the World Cup, it gives him time to settle now, kind of play a part with the team from a more managerial point of view, and then come back and really hit his straps in the second half of the season. Because that will be the big test for the Stormers side, is that longevity of the tournament. But
what did you think of Jamie Roberts?
Yeah, good introduction. And I think the value that you're going to see with the Jamie Roberts is just going to be what he means to a Damien Willemse. So to have this 34-year-old old head next to him, to kind of calm him, to allow him to play his game, because, you know, to win the Super Rugby, if you look at the history of the competition, a great pack and very good halfbacks. That's been the formula to every team that's won it. You've got a great pack, and I think you potentially have one of the best halfback pairings when it comes to excitement and the way they play the game in Herschel Jantjies and Damien Willemse. And I know Dobbo will persist with Damien at 10 and not play him at 15. And yeah, everything to be excited about. I love the energy of the back three. Sergio Peterson looks rejuvenated. Dylan Lates, to me, the most underrated player in this country.
Yeah.
But the depth that was coming off the bench again. You see Scurra come on, and he's really playing well, you know.
He's fit. He looks as fit as a butcher's dog, that guy.
Yes, Scurra, and he's just getting better and better with age now.
Yeah.
So Wilco Low looking good. I think it's going to be a cracker this weekend against the Bulls, but I do think the Stormers at home will be too strong for them.
Well, they're favoured by 11 points, which is the biggest discrepancy we have in a handicap betting this weekend. So the bookies certainly believe that the Bulls are in for a torrid time. Let's go down. Let's look at some of the other games, Mark. I mean, what can we take away from a game like the Crusaders and who they play, the Waratahs?
The Waratahs, yeah. Kind of predictable result, 6 tries to 3 kind of thing.
Yeah.
Credit to the Crusaders, they've lost 7 players.
Yeah.
So again, their pipeline is good, and what Robinson has done, and I really enjoy Scott Robinson, and I enjoy what he's done with that Crusaders side.
That's only because you can't break dance and you find it.
No, who can break dance like Razor? Okay.
Well, I can.
But Crusaders, they'll be up there at the end in the top 4. I think the Chiefs, there was a lot in that second half that just had Gatlin written all over it.
Oh, they changed gear.
And they've also got a mongrel immediately about them. And to see a New Zealand side in Super Rugby score 2 tries from a maul, play with their forwards, so they will be a factor. And he's taken a fairly limited bunch, but
And they play the Crusaders this weekend.
yeah, to be a very good test of the depth of that squad. But again, Leonard Brown when he came off the bench, Aaron Cruden when he came off the bench, really turned the game in the second half. The value of experience. I think that will be Crusaders Chiefs will be the strongest that comes out of New Zealand. The Blues will be hit and miss. The Canes will struggle, and the Highlanders will be hit and miss. Australia, I don't see a team coming out of Australia. That Reds Brumbies game was so poor. The Rebels, I mean, to really take a beating against the Sunwolves, and half that side has played for the Wallabies as well. So I think problems there. And in the South African Conference, we spoke about this a week ago. Stormers, Jaguars. I think they will be a cut above the rest.
Said the Bulls and Lions would struggle, and to me the Sharks may get in for 3rd place. But
yeah, I was a bit surprised that the Sharks did the Bulls, but
I wasn't.
I think those 3 will be at the bottom 3. And
Yeah. How were you on Super Brew this week?
4 from 7, but I can only go. Well, I don't know if I can go up, but 4 from 7 is I'll take it. I'm easing my way in.
Yeah.
And then 3 from 3 for the 6 Nations.
It's not a 5-day test, eh?
No.
No. Okay, so how about the Lions? Let's look at the Lions and the Bulls.
The Lions are going to struggle, eh? You really look at what they've got. It's a young side. It's a rebuilding side, and I just don't have a lot of confidence in their coach either. So,
well, the good news for them is they got the Reds this week.
Yeah, it's look, they're going to lose a lot more than they're going to win. From what I saw, I wasn't overly impressed in anything in their game. They took 30 points against the Jaguars. There's nothing positive about that.
No.
It's going to be a long season for them.
Yeah, another 15 games to be exact.
Very long. Could be the Lions of old.
Yeah. I just don't know what to make of the Sharks, you know, and they might pox a win there. The Highlanders lost a lot of players, but I mean, we're getting off topic. So Stormers, as we predicted, to easily beat the Hurricanes.
Yeah.
That came in. Dobbo looked like a genius, you know, no points. So again, spot on.
Yeah, and 6 Nations. Eddie.
Wales.
Wales.
Emphatic,
very impressive. Didn't think Italy would be so poor, but credit to Wales. There was none of that nervousness in the first.
Franco looked good in the box, though. He looked like he had an Italian. He looked like someone from an Italian mobster.
Well, he looked as troubled as every Italian coach has looked. They've won 2 out of 51 in the last 20 years away from home, and 12 out of 102 in 6 Nations history. You've got to really question, should they be there? I'd back Georgia to beat them at the moment.
Well, it's yeah, well, they shouldn't be there. I mean, not with that performance, but there's no consequences for bad play in the Six Nations, other than a wooden spoon, which says it all. And all that's done is take the wooden spoon away from Scotland, which was the only thing that they ever won anyway.
And we did say Scotland would be tight,
Yeah.
that the handicap was way too generous for Ireland.
Yeah.
And 13-6, Stuart Hogg, schoolboy error, has to just put the ball down and score.
Yeah.
Drops it, and that's the difference in the game. So I wasn't overly impressed with Ireland either.
No.
I think they will struggle under Farrell.
They looked a bit old, a bit ponderous, bit lacking of ideas. So it's
Well, he hasn't really made much difference or change to what we saw with the Joe Smith team.
and they play Wales next, I think. Eh?
Yeah,
Ireland.
and then you got England travelling to play Scotland, and geez, credit to Fabien Galte, to that young French team, for 60 minutes, and with the Sean Edwards defensive system, fitness is going to become a key, and I just felt they were lacking a bit in conditioning.
Yeah.
And then the bench was very young. They came on, and it took two wonderful moments from Johnny May, who's a great player,
Yeah.
to kind of give a hint that England could be back. But the intensity and the brutality that Eddie Jones spoke about came from a young French team.
Well, I do love Eddie saying it could have got ugly. It did get ugly. I mean, what game's he watching?
No, and Clive Woodward, who writes for the Daily Mail, said in 2 matches,
Sir Clive Woodward.
Sir Clive Woodward, he said in 2 matches, Eddie has undone all the mystique of an unbeaten 18-match record. He said the way they got pummeled by South Africa, the way they got pummeled and beaten up by a young French team, I don't see where they can come back. You know, I think they...
So are you saying that Eddie should leave?
I think Eddie's best days are over.
Yeah.
And the highlight of Eddie's tenure is that one-off win against the All Blacks at a World Cup.
Yeah.
The more closer reality was when the big moments came, his team wasn't good enough in South Africa to beat the Springboks, at the World Cup to beat the Springboks. And
Let's not forget they were heavily favoured.
heavily favoured. And the brutality that he speaks about is in their last 5 matches now away in the Six Nations. They've been done twice in Paris, they've been done in Cardiff, they've been done in Dublin, and they were done at Murrayfield. That's 5 big away wins. They lost the series out here,
Yeah.
and they got smashed in a final of the World Cup. So,
And they lost the Six Nations.
yeah,
You know.
their best days are over. They won't be the greatest team we'll ever remember.
Well, I know. I never thought that would happen. But thanks, Mark, for coming in, and always fun.
Pleasure.